Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dark and Stormy Nights. This is Loki.
And this is here.
And we're going to plan the next chapter. So, to recap, Annalise has crossed the barrier at this point. This is what affects this coming chapter, right? Because we're going to write about Annalise on this side.
For the most part, yes.
Oh,
but
before we start.
Yes, we talked about opening up in the original world. Not with Rowan. We're going to leave that simmer for a bit. But with jumping back to the Fristburger, wolves. And at this point, they've been on the trail that Lee and Ren and Gary and everybody have left. And I think it's time that they caught up with it, right?
Yeah. So they're going to finally figure out that it's this semi and then they're searching the semi. They're questioning the driver. They're digging through the cargo before they find the charm, right?
Right, yeah. So this poor driver ends up with a motorcycle gang of wolves coming after him, and he has no idea why. And then they end up tearing his stuff apart until they come across the little magic spell that has fooled them. I don't think they're going to be any happier when they find that.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it's like, did they kill the driver?
I don't know that they'd kill the driver, but I think they're going to be twice as pissed at Lee and Elliot.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's all there is to that, though, is a little bit of interrogation before they discover that he doesn't know anything.
Yeah, I think you pretty much cut that scene off at, them finding the charm and being pissed.
Right.
And then from there, I think you pick up with Reyna stepping through.
Yeah. So, and she ends up in
or falling through or whatever.
Now, I mean, some people believe that the Fey world is a mirror of this world, right? It's similar in many ways, but different, of course. So, if this whole thing takes place in Cleveland, maybe we are in some kind of Fey city or something that's run down. And
I mean, even if it's a mirror, there's no saying that the Fae have built anything in the same places. Unless you're saying they're connected in some way like that.
Well, some people believe that the Fae world would look like our world, but different. So if you crossed over, whatever exists there looks like here, but different. So it could be a ruin of some sort or whatever that looks like Cleveland. It looks like downtown Cleveland or something. Mm-hmm. Depending on where they crossed over, what have you.
I put her in a field, but yeah.
But I mean, if you have a view of Cleveland, what you see in the distance may be the Fey ruins or something like that. Which the Dark Fae may still run to this day. It just may be run down and more fucking post-apocalyptic looking or something like that, but overrun with trees or something.
I mean, or even, it doesn't have to be like, rubble or whatever, but like it could even be, well-maintained, but like dark and creepy, but beautiful, kind of.
Sure.
I don't know.
So.
I think you could go anyway with it, really. Or like nature, like growing through the buildings, but it's.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. More like, imagine if a jungle overtook the city, or something.
But like it's
that.
almost like the materials of the building and the trees or the growth work together, so whatever.
Well, so I built a fantasy world with Odin for a game system that we were doing, and the way Fae work is that they take nature and they weave their cities out of what's naturally existing. So trees and
rocks and
stuff are bound together with vines and large leaves and stuff like that to make the Fey cities.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that works. I mean, and then just make it like winter in Cleveland. It's always gray.
I mean, Cleveland's always pretty gray.
That's true.
In general.
That's true.
So I don't know, if she's out in some field somewhere, she might have to make her way to the city or whatever. And then
and I mean, Fae worlds are generally pretty crazy, so you could really have anything go on, during her journey to find her bloodline or those loyal to her bloodline,
right,
or whatever it is. So a crazy Fae world adventure, maybe.
So yeah, maybe she. I don't know. I was thinking maybe she gets, or she's dodging whatever weird Fey things there are. And then maybe she gets arrested crossing into the city itself or something.
Would they not recognize what she is? Or
Well,
maybe they
she's one
question
of
her
them.
because she's a half-breed?
But I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't know who she is. She's not wearing the traditional Fey
That's
clothing and all that stuff. So bringing her before the chieftain is probably when she'd get recognized or what have you,
Okay. So somewhere on the journey, she basically gets arrested.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it might start out as a fight, I don't
Okay.
think she'd go down without a fight.
Probably not.
So,
So she'll come across like royal guards or whatever.
right. And then end up fighting with them, and then she'll get dragged before the court and reveal who she is, probably.
Okay. Because ultimately, she might be like a formidable opponent. Oh my lord, on Earth, but like they're still more powerful than she is.
Right.
So yeah. Okay, so she gets arrested.
Well, that's the thing. She never trained like they did. She was raised here on Earth by
Right,
humans.
Right.
So she doesn't have all their training. She's not a full elf or anything like that. She has, if there is some kind of ability that the full elves have, or full blood dark
Like
elves have,
magic or
she may
whatever?
not have it. At least not to the extreme that they have it.
Right.
She may have never learned how to use most of it. That's something that she could come back with. If there's some kind of like racial power of the dark elves or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things they could be sending her back with is the knowledge of how to use it.
Right. Or if not, some kind of magic trinket that she can use.
Yeah, so I don't think necessarily
Something.
that she's returning today. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't need to be. As long as Rowan is alive and feeding that spell, and we know that Fae time
That's true. It
does not pass in the same way that Earth time does, you could drag this out as long as you want.
Right.
And it could be a minute on Earth.
That's true. So, but then she has to, convince them that, I am the daughter of the queen or something like that, and then...
Well, do you not feel like the queen would recognize her?
Well, I'm saying that she's not going to be directly taken to the queen or whatever.
At first.
Right. There's
So
going to be
she'll have
somebody
to
who
plead her
decides,
case.
that would normally be like, take her to the dungeon. She's like, wait, I'm the daughter of...
Or maybe like basically they're ready to toss her, into the dungeon, and then somebody like recognizes that she looks remarkably like the queen, and they're like, wait, hold on, and then.
Oh,
it gets
what
figured
if...
out.
So if every dark elf has some kind of slave servant or something like that, maybe it's the queen's servant that recognizes her or something like that. It's like, I know this child, or...
That's true. And somebody had to have given her Rowan, so like there has to be somebody
Right.
who would recognize her.
So...
Okay.
That's true, yeah. I mean, it's not like she's been completely out of contact with these people.
Her
She's
mom
not...
was on the same world with her when she was a child.
Right, she's just not welcome back in the Fayside court or whatever,
Yeah, she can't rule because she's not a full elf.
But, yeah, she doesn't hate her. She just probably doesn't love her that much.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt that she has any kind of feelings for her. I also kind of feel like dark elves are generally pictured as like a cold,
Yeah.
people. So
So, okay, so she has to reason with all these people, then she'll be taken before the queen, and then she'll plead for an army and stuff like that. And
yeah, I think that she'll have to have like a meeting with her mother. You could do a little bit with that relationship, or maybe for a moment, Annalise thinks, because Annalise is part human, so maybe she thinks that she can stay and be a part of this world that she's seeing, where her mother is straight
Yeah.
up royalty with her own castle, and her mom's like, no, that's not happening.
yeah,
You
that
have
would be
to
a
go
scandal.
Yeah, that would be a scandal for her. So she needs to redirect Annalise into your rightful place as ruling on Earth.
Right. Yeah, I think I feel like it's almost dismissive diplomacy or whatever, that, oh, no, honey, you can't rule here.
Right.
Your rightful place is ruling there.
Right. Yeah, so it needs to be definitely like, we can't have a half-breed queen. you can't be here. Like, and even to just have, even if she had no intention of ruling, like Annalise can't stay there as a reminder,
Right.
you know, or as like a constant, like, you know, symbol to her people that she mingled with the humans.
But there's good news. Your dark elf blood makes you superior to humans in every way.
Right. And that's the other thing. Being only like half elf, she's not as strong as the rest of them.
Right.
She would be assassinated as a queen, you know, like she can't stay there.
Right.
So okay, so then what happens after this mother-daughter lack of bonding?
I think, I don't know, like, how bad is the time dilation? Like, do we want to just send her back with an army and stuff like that, or do we want
I
to
think you can give her a little bit of time. I
Like,
wouldn't do months.
train her,
I would say, you know, like a few days, a week.
you know,
You can give her a little bit of pointers to
turn
make
her,
her,
like, tell her about her ability or whatever like that? We give her some kind of ability.
or give her some kind of like charmed armor, weaponry, something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, she could come back looking pretty cool,
Yeah.
you know, so,
Because the Fae are pretty well known for their fancy, crafty stuff.
sure, yeah, all pretty and super durable and all that shit.
Right.
So really, that would be the entirety of it. It, you know, is because we're gonna end the chapter with her coming back with an army, right?
Right. So instead of allowing her to stay, her mother offers her, you know, weaponry or armor or something, and an army of loyalists that she can lead.
She might. I think she.
And ultimately, they're sending these poor Fae soldiers through with no choice of their own to another world.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, well, I see dark elves as fairly authoritarian, you know. So, but yeah, I think maybe her mother's gonna have to want to like weave some kind of alliance here or whatever. It's like, while you're gonna be stuck in the human world, ruling there or what have you. You know, this will be like, I rule this world, you rule that world. You know, together we will conquer two worlds.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So she sees this as a power grab on her side too. And let's not forget that Annalise's mother was forced out of her position on the Combine. That
Right.
She once was a powerful.
Yeah,
person.
she wants revenge. And
So like, yeah, she's not gonna have warm fuzzy feelings towards the Combine and the fact that her seat was taken from her.
right. Well, not to mention, maybe there is some kind of, like I said, the two worlds may mirror each other, right?
Mhm.
So as Annalise grows power in the human world, it may help her
That's
gain power
true.
in the Fae world.
That's true. Okay.
So
Okay, so she kind of sets up a power alliance between the worlds.
Right.
Her mother isn't feeling maternal, but she's seeing this as an opportunity. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, and then like, how do we want to pull this together? How long do you want to keep her there? Do you want like time to like for her to gather her army? Is her mother just gonna send one of her groups with her? You know.
yeah, it's hard to say.
Anything else need to happen there before she goes back?
I think she needs some training. You know,
Okay.
like I said, she doesn't know her ability. She doesn't know how to use the weaponry. She doesn't know how to command an army. You know, so they might have to teach her some of that stuff. I'm not sure if I want to write about all of that.
No.
But if
maybe
I
just,
don't-
like,
if I don't
indicate
write
that
about
there's a
some of
crash
it,
course.
Yeah, if I don't write about some of it, this is going to be a very short chapter, and we're going to want to know. You know, people are going to be like, "Well, how the hell does she know how to do any of this?" You know.
That's true.
So we're going to want to hint at least somewhat to how she learns all this. I'm thinking 3 months in Fae time might be 3 days in human time or something like that. You know, so
3 days is a long time for like everybody to not catch the power that she surged on Earth, though.
right. Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't do 3 months. I would stick it to maybe like 1 month, and then have it like, you know, where Nigel has sent out a hunter to.
Investigate.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, would Rowan fight that hunter?
Rowan can't do shit right now. She's dying. But if that hunter is Elliot,
I mean, is Elliot technically, or you think he would be like, "This is your first mission, Elliot"? You know.
well, Elliot's first mission was
Do
the
we
dragon.
do we pan back to the real world for this, or?
If you feel like you need to put it in this chapter, you can have Elliot show up to deal with Rowan. Maybe he calls Lee, and he's like, "Lee, I need your help right fucking now."
Yeah.
And then we see. Here's the thing: is we also mentioned Elliot getting injured at this point. So maybe, like, whether it's this chapter or a future chapter, you know, Elliot goes to check out this power surge, maybe with backup. Who knows? You know, he could have taken Gary, or you know.
Well, and he could just be
Lee.
asked to scout it and
Yeah.
not do anything. You know, it's just
Right.
like just figure out what's going on and come back.
And so
Don't
he
Don't do anything on your own.
right,
and
and so
it's-
he looks around, ends up stumbling across Rowan, and he immediately is, you know, trying to. Maybe he calls Ren, who's with Lee, or Lee.
Right.
He calls Lee, and Lee hands that phone over to Ren, and she's trying to walk him through disabling the spell.
But that's So maybe he's here as the army comes back,
That's what I'm saying.
and that's
And
when he
then
gets
Raina
injured.
steps through, and she starts pulling her army through. But as Elliot's unraveling her spell, it's going to cut her army off.
Right.
So maybe she reattaches it to Elliot instead, or she injures him in some way as he's trying to free Rowan. Like, I think it's fine for him to end up saving Rowan, but if he ends up, basically we know Elliot has to end up severely injured.
Right.
So this could be the point that it happens, or it could be that, you know, sometime during the battle.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if that's something you want to address in this chapter.
I guess we'll see where it's going, right?
Yeah.
So.
I can add that to the notes, though. I mean, you can either choose to include it or not, depending on.
I mean, if we're gonna bring her back by the end of the chapter,
Mhm.
I think it needs to be put in there.
I agree.
So.
If you're going to have her coming through on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could leave it where she's on Fae and, like, her army's at the gate ready to walk through.
Right. So yeah, I guess we'll see how far I get, but I don't see it as being super long. Otherwise, you know, I'm not sure I'm gonna get anywhere near the 9 pages we've been averaging.
Right.
So
Okay. Well, it's up to you, however it ends up flowing.
yeah, I mean, it seems like a very cut and dry, simple chapter, you know, compared to some of the back and forth, more convoluted
I
stuff
mean,
we
it'll
read.
honestly be probably a bit of world building, too, that you have to throw in there, because we haven't seen Fae yet.
That's true, and I've got some ideas for our Fae world and stuff, so it could be interesting. I mean, I've got a lot of experience, like reading and creating Fae worlds and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so I mean, it just depends on, like, how much description you're going to have in there, how much dialogue.
well, I
you
gotta
know.
remember one of the things they probably looked for when they decided to open this gate was a ring of toadstools. So
Okay.
because in mythology they're often a sign of where the veil's thin.
Okay. All right, so anything else you want included in the notes for this one? Any kind of creatures or anything?
Do you want to give the Fae, like the Dark Fae, some kind of like guard dog thing or
I
something?
don't know, man. I was kind of thinking of like the animals that are in like Lord of the Rings, like maybe something like
The wargs,
something.
like the things
That would be pretty devastating,
the
though. Like
the trolls, the things that the orcs were riding.
yeah,
well,
those
I
like
thought
cat dog things.
that maybe the dark elves had tamed trolls to
That's
be
possible
to do
too.
their
It just makes it more interesting, you know.
right. So
But also, can you get a troll through this hole, through this tear? Is it going to be able to get through?
I don't know. A
Also,
couple,
it depends on how big a troll
like
is.
one at a time. That
Yeah.
might be what's stemming the flow,
Like, They
right?
have to squeeze through.
Yeah, you get like 10 guys through one troll. Like, you know,
Yeah.
trolls have different looks depending on the mythology. I like the Lord of the Rings trolls personally because they're enormous and ridiculous and stuff like
Right.
that. Warg basically means troll dog, which are what the orcs were riding, or like some of the orcs and goblins rode
Mhm.
the troll dogs or whatever. So troll means many things in mythology, so they don't have
Yeah,
to be.
they're very broad.
Yeah, they
as
don't have to be
far as
ridiculously
description
enormous
goes.
or anything like that, but they're definitely some kind of mutated beast,
Right.
you know. So, so
or
they don't.
like an ogre.
They
or
could be
something.
like just 2-3 times the size of a man, which would still make them like 600-pound monster, you know.
Yeah.
So, but not so ridiculous. You know, they might still be capped at 8-9 feet tall. You know. So I can
Right.
work with it. You know.
Okay, that's cool. I'll add that to the notes. All right. Anything else?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've definitely got to take the time to describe this world because it's going to be probably the last time in the story you're there, the first and last time in that world.
Yeah, it'll be the only glimpse of it in this book, at least.
Right.
Maybe sequels or something, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a next one takes us into the Fey world to,
Yeah.
you know, do something. If the people like it enough. So.
True. Okay.
Do we want to find any allies here or anything like that?
Can you consider Fae allies?
Well, I mean,
Here's the other thing: the Fae are tricksters that you don't want to bargain with.
yeah,
Would
but
they just offer all this stuff freely, or are they going to tie like Rena Annalise to some kind of I don't know.
I mean,
like
I think
price.
her mother definitely thinks she's getting something out of the deal.
So she's not going to
I would say that
trap her.
She might be like, I'm going to favor you today, but you will have to favor me in the
Yeah.
future. You know, I mean, it's definitely going to be a tit for tat that,
Right.
So when I call on you, you must come to my aid,
Right.
you know. So that is saying that Annalise survives this whole thing, you know.
Right, which I don't think we were planning on doing.
I don't know. She might run away with her tail tucked between her legs and a few broken bones or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's something that's good enough for the Combine. The Combine may seek to hunt her down. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on the kind of ending we want.
Okay.
Do we want her to be a possible problem in future books, or do
Reyna?
or do we
Or
want finality?
You know, we had also talked about them making the connection between Reyna and Annalise and realizing we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Although, so it really, like, it's going to depend on how you end this chapter. You're either going to end it before she comes back, in which case we could jump over to their research and, like, Lee's already suspicious of
Well,
Reyna. He's already suspicious of Annalise. Maybe eventually he
Rowan's
makes
that connection. Because Rowan is there at the gate. Elliot's going to start asking her questions and everything like that.
Right. So, I mean,
Because they never connected Annalise to Rowan. They connected Reyna to Rowan.
correct, but Elliot's not going to know that it's Annalise that went through that portal.
But what he is going to know is that Rowan is pinned there,
Yes.
and he's got to save her. And
When
that's
Annalise steps through, yes, he'll be able to make that connection.
right, but I'm saying is it may be Rowan that gives up the information because he's saving her ass.
Maybe. I mean, otherwise, right now, Lee has already become suspicious of Annalise and of Reyna.
Right.
So truly, if him and Nigel are going through Reyna's files and he finds a case that Annalise and Reyna, where Reyna's case was Annalise, and that's the point that Annalise took over her image,
Right.
that would probably be enough for him to make the connection as well. So like I said, it depends on where we end this chapter. Either you're going to end it where she's about to come through, and then we can jump over and do that while Elliot's off researching the surge. Or you can continue on to where she's coming through and Elliot's there with Rowan, and Elliot's the one who makes the connection at that point.
Right.
You know? So it can work either way. We'll just need to figure it out.
Okay, I think that's good. So
All right.
I'll work with it.
Yep.
Anything else you want in there?
I don't think so. I mean, you're the world builder. I'm glad you ended up with this chapter.
I feel
So.
like we finagled it, but yeah, I'll make it work.
Okay.
So, all right. So catch us next week for the exciting conclusion of this, where I bring you the story. But in the meantime, go and check us out at the Dark Stormy K1 on Twitter, r/Dark and Stormy Nights on Reddit. We're also on Facebook. You can find our podcast anywhere podcasts can be found, as well as YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, whatever's possible. Tell your friends and family about us because we're awesome. So, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.